Always wait until 70 to file for Social Security. That's the single worst piece of advice I hear all the time. The idea that you should always defer when filing has gotten a lot of people into trouble. Is it sometimes the right move to file at 70 years old? Of course it is. But a blanket statement for everyone to not file at the age of 62 is just flat out wrong. I'm going to buck that trend of bad advice and go over 5 really good reasons why you should file for Social Security at the age of 62. My name is Ryan A. Hughes, and I am the investment manager at Bull Oak, one of the fastest growing financial planning firms in the US. So today, I wanted to share some of the key reasons we've learned so you can make smarter, more confident decisions with your own money. So when we are talking about the reasons why you should file for Social Security at the age of 62, the biggest reason is that you have an immediate need. If you simply need the money, then you should file for Social Security. It's as simple as that. If your portfolio alone can't sustain your lifestyle, or if you don't have any other income coming in, or worse, you have to take out debt to sustain your lifestyle, then you should file for Social Security instead. That cost of racking up credit card debt or taking out a home equity line of credit with the idea of delaying filing for Social Security, that cost is just too high. And that trade-off is just not there. You are much better off filing today, even if it is a lower amount. You'll be in a much better financial situation in that long run. Another reason it can make sense to file at the age of 62 is if you want your portfolio to keep growing. By filing early, you start receiving Social Security checks right away. That doesn't mean that you have to draw down your portfolio as much or at all. That money you leave invested, that has a chance of compounding over time because it is invested in the markets. This is that opportunity cost that a lot of people miss when they're planning their Social Security strategy. Of course, the big key here is that your portfolio has to be invested well. If it's sitting in cash or if it's invested poorly, this strategy obviously won't work. But if you have a disciplined, well-defined investment strategy, filing at 62, that could be the really smart move. So here's how that math works. Social Security benefits grow by about 6 to 7% per year between the age of 62 and your full retirement age, which is usually 67. And then that benefit grows by about 8% per year between the age of 67 and 70. However, once you file, that growth stops. From that point on, your benefits are only adjusted for inflation, which is usually about 2 to 3% per year. So if you turn on Social Security early, your portfolio has the potential to grow at a much higher rate over that same time. Letting it compound while you receive Social Security, that can leave you better off than waiting years for a slightly bigger government check. And here's the kicker. If you don't need that Social Security income to live on, you can even reinvest that amount, adding another layer of growth on top of your portfolio. Another big reason to consider filing at 62 is to unlock family benefits. So when you file, it doesn't just impact your own income, it can also trigger spousal benefits or dependent benefits for your family. So for example, if you have a spouse who qualifies for benefits based on your record, they can start receiving income of their own once you file. They wouldn't be able to file if you didn't do it first. Also, if you have kids in school under the age of 18, they can also qualify for income benefits. And remember that filing can also impact survivor benefits for your spouse after you pass. So this extra income stream, that could be a real game changer for your entire household income. It can mean tens of thousands of dollars in additional benefits that would otherwise be left on the table if you actually delayed that filing. And the fourth reason why you should file for Social Security at the age of 62 is if you think you might have a short life expectancy. So if you have health issues or if you have a family history that suggests that you may not live into your 80s or 90s, then waiting to file just doesn't make any sense. Social Security is designed to pay out over your lifetime, right? And if your lifetime is shorter, delaying means that you're never going to be able to collect the benefits that you worked so hard over your life to earn. But by filing at the age of 62, you lock in an income stream that you can actually use. You paid into Social Security during your career, so it makes sense to reap the benefits of doing so. So the break-even age between filing at the age of 62 and filing at 70 is 82 years old. So this is the age where the total amount collected from delaying finally catches up to the total amount collected from filing early. So if you have any doubts about reaching that age of 82, then collecting earlier could be the smarter move. And here's an important point from the government's perspective. Social Security is designed to be actuarially neutral. So what that means is that on average, whether you file at the age of 62 or 70, the total amount of money that the government expects to pay you over your lifetime is the same. So if you take it on early, you get a smaller check, but for more years, But if you wait to file, you get a bigger check, but for fewer years. And on paper, from the government's viewpoint, it all evens out. But here's the catch. The government is looking at this across millions of individuals, and they're looking at the average. And of course, none of us are truly average. If you live a shorter life, filing early puts you ahead. If you live a long life, then delaying puts you better ahead. So that's why your own health, family history, and your own financial situation, that matters so much rather than just receiving that blanket advice that you hear so much out there. And the final reason to file early is if you're already income secure. So one of the main reasons why it makes sense to delay filing Social Security is to protect against what's called longevity risk. So longevity risk is simply the risk of outliving your own money. So if you live a very long life, so let's say into your late 80s, 90s, or beyond, then you want to make sure that you have enough income to support yourself for those decades. So that's why Social Security can be so appealing. It guarantees a larger monthly check for the rest of your life. But if you already have that risk covered, whether it's through a pension or rental real estate, or even a large enough investment portfolio that could sustain that type of spending, then you don't really need Social Security to play that role. Your longevity risk is already managed. So in this case, it doesn't make sense to wait for a bigger check at the age of 70. You don't need it. So take it early, enjoy it, especially while you're younger and healthier. So those are the 5 reasons why filing for Social Security at the age of 62 might be the right move. But at the end of the day, there is no blanket answer. What matters is making the decision that fits your life and your retirement goals. And that's where we can help. At Bull Oak, our advisors work with clients every day to build retirement plans that make these big decisions clear and actionable. So if you'd like to make sure that you're on the right track, click the link below to schedule an introductory meeting with one of our lead advisors today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.